some reason, he always liked to come and watch her swimming. She reached the far end of the pool, turned and kicked off the wall, and looked for Grandpa again. He'd wandered around to the shallow end and was standing there, watching some children. He was ready to go, but maybe she could squeeze in a couple more lengths to finish off. She plunged down toward him, feeling, for some reason, slightly apprehensive. The children in the shallow end blocked her lane, but they broke apart as she approached, and she slipped in between them, wondering whether she should stop. Grandpa called out again. "Everything's fine, Jess. Keep going." She kicked off the wall and headed back down the pool, suddenly desperately uneasy. Something was wrong, but she couldn't figure out what it was. His words rang in her head. "Everything's fine. Everything's fine." And yet there was something in the very contrariness of Grandpa that told her he was trying to conceal something. He was such a stubborn, prickly old man. He would always say everything was fine. Especially when it wasn't. She broke out of her stroke and stopped, treading water, and searched for Grandpa. There he was, still standing at the shallow end, watching the children. He looked all right, no different from before. Just bored. Perhaps she was imagining all this. He saw her and raised a hand to wave. Then, to her horror, he clutched it over his heart and crashed into the pool. The hospital managed to keep him 3 days. He was meant to have stayed much longer, but being Grandpa, as soon as he'd decided he was feeling better, he phoned for a taxi and, to the consternation of doctors, nurses, and a protesting taxi driver who was convinced his cab was about to turn into a hearse, discharged himself. As he informed the exasperated doctor, the family was going on vacation on August 20th, and, as this was the 19th, he needed to get home to pack. So he was home again. She knew it was a mistake. Much as she'd been yearning to see him back, she knew the moment he arrived that this time even his independent spirit had misled him. He turned up at the door looking like a skeleton, and they'd put him straight to bed. He seemed barely well enough to move, let alone go on vacation. The next morning, at Grandpa's insistence, they started packing, though only after Dad had forced him to agree to let them call out Dr. Phelps. Jess liked Dr. Phelps, but went up to her room when she heard him at the door. She knew what the outcome would be. Once Grandpa had set his mind on something, that was that. And if he'd decided he was going on vacation, nothing anyone could say or do would change his plans. So Dr. Phelps, pleasant man though he was, would get short shrift. She sat down at the desk and stared at the swimming medals on the shelf with her birthday cards propped up among them, the big jokey one from Grandpa most prominent of all. But neither swimming medals or being 15 seemed relevant right now. She frowned and let her gaze wander out of the window into the street, already clogged with cars and buses and taxis struggling toward the city center. The omens for a good vacation seemed remote indeed. Sometime later, she heard a tap at the door. "Come in, Mom," she said, not looking around. "Do you recognize all our knocks?" Jess glanced up at her and tried to smile. "Suppose so. Has Dr. Phelps gone?" "Yes." "And was Grandpa horrible to him?" "Not horrible, just, grandpa-ish." Mom laughed. "Yes, grandpa-ish." "So we're still going on vacation?" "Yes." Jess sighed. "He shouldn't be home, and we shouldn't be going on vacation. He's not well enough." "I know. But let's not think the worst. He's such a stubborn character. He'll probably pull through out of sheer bloody-mindedness just to prove us all wrong." Jess scowled down at the desk. "I still think he should be in the hospital." "Well, you won't change him," said Mom. "You know what he's like. Dad and I aren't happy about it either. If he has another turn where we're going, it might not be easy to get him to a hospital. It's a very isolated place, apparently. But he's set on going, so let's just hope it does him some good. He needs rest, lots of rest." "Try telling him that." "Anyway, are you ready?" "Yes." "Good." Mom